Fashionably late. Good lord. Hello. Dear lord. My god. Hello. Hello everyone. Alright, shameless plugs applied. Yeah, so we'll just finish off what we were at yesterday. So we had a grand old time chipping away through them. We still have... Alright, these are just mine. I'm saving these for later. We have a lot of casts to go. Good lord. And there should be some good fights in here. Of course, thank you. We'll start off with the usual shenanigans. I guess it pays to be polite. Thanks to Phoenix King for hosting. The night crew for doing their thing and having these things going. Always appreciated. Skaven Norse, unless I messed up my files. I think he messed up his files. Alright, let's take a peek and see. Oh, what the hell? Do we want to start off by watching Scarbrandu attempt to be kited? Scarbrand ended up winning yesterday, so probably no harm to watch him have to suffer just a little bit. Alright, let's just watch this one. We'll start off with some kite. What could possibly go wrong? We might even fast forward through some of this. I'm not sure if this is the last fight or not. Yeah, it was a good tournament yesterday, though. Again, congrats to Scarbrandu for doing Scarbrandu things. That's a good cup of coffee. Alright, what do we got? We have the Skirmish Corps. And the Counter Skirmish Corps. Of course, Marauder Horsemen of Corn. We're actually going to pause this because they're starting off right off the bat. Marauder Horsemen throwing axes here on the side of Scarbrand. Minos in the backfield with great weapons. I think they're all with great weapons, aren't they? Yes, indeed they are. We have Chaos Warriors of Corn with halberds. Some Bloodwake Berserkers. Some more halberds. But no real cavalry. And then, of course, Scarbrand rocking. Scarbrand with Rage embodied. Fueled by Rage. And I think that's everything. He just has regular Rest Frenzy. Okay, so pretty tight Corn build. A little bit of a Skirmish Corps. And then on the side of Bretonia. We didn't watch much Bretonia yesterday. Which sucks. So we'll have to catch up on Angel's play today. We have Mounted Yeomen. Are there more Mounted Yeomen hidden there? Yes, indeed there are. The full Skirmish contingent here. 4 of them in total. And we have Battle Pilgrims, more Battle Pilgrims. A little bit of extra Battle Pilgrim. A Peasant Mob. The Holy Wardens of La Bastille. And then some Spearmen at Arms. Peasant Bowman. Wow. There's like a few of them. That's epic. And then a Grail Relique. Another Grail Relique. Repense de Lyonesse. With her Halo of Maidenly Wrath. Does not little explosions. Sword of Lyonesse. And the Fleur de Lis banner. And who does she have as a friend? Gotrek. Little Gotrek. Little guy. Look at the little guy. Look at him rocking. Mohawk. And all in tow. Alright. Cool beans. Let's crack on with the cast as we're seeing the skirmishers. Try to get some counter skirmish in. Of course, these are armor piercing, which is going to be a little bit wasted against these yeoman archers. Scarbrand's going to be taking a little bit of chip, but so too are the... Actually, I think it seems like he's focusing down the Bloodwake Berserkers to start off with. As we're seeing the Corn try and go for a little bit of a surround here, as the skirmish, counter skirmish is going on. Another few shots going off into the Bloodwake Berserkers, which is just going to chip them down a little bit. They do, of course, have Bloodstorm. The entities explode. That's hilarious. Then, of course, we're going to see the Minos try and chop on through all of these, but the skirmish counter skirmish is going pretty well so far. Both sides are kind of trading relatively even with one another. The thing is this skirmish is going to be pretty damn important, because whoever comes out on top, as we're seeing here, Scarbrand is taking a nice tasty bit of damage off on the top. Far from the ideal, That's just the nature of the beast, as these Minos now are going to be shot to itty bitty bits. But look at this, a nice charge comes through here, getting some really solid damage against these bowmen. As some heals are coming up, Gotrik's trying to take on Scarbrand, as that's going to be one peasant bowman probably going to be scuttling off down in a moment. And look at that there, the bit of a collapse gone down onto these Marauder Horsemen, as they're having their Spearmen at Arms come in and try and reinforce, but looks like it's too late for one unit of peasant bowmen, but another one now is being just about rounded out. Here, these mounted yeoman archers are going to getting in some counters, catching some of these chaps. We are going to see these spearmen at arms not catch this entire blob. I love Total War. Look at this entire blob that they're pretty much ignoring. But they are going to be caught up in this mass, as one of the Marauder Horsemen are going to be sent off. These archers are gone. Looks like these mounted yeomen are going to rout as well, but that's going to leave both sides relatively even here in terms of what they've lost so far. But that front line is going to absolutely buckle in almost an instant, as these Battle Pilgrims here just about managing to hold off these Chaos Warriors are still in play. As the Minotaurs of Corner just cleaving through some peasant bowmans. You hate to see it as a sports fan. And looking at this here, the skirmish court is still very much still in force. Balance of power says it's pretty much even. Good showing here from the side of Angel with Scarbrand. His skirmish contingent is still in play, albeit much weakened, as we're seeing here. Another one is probably on the verge of routing. These peasant bowmen have rallied. But look at this. The Damsel of Life is pretty much unalived. You hate to see it. Look at these peasant mob coming in to try and reinforce, but look at that, surrounded by mass. She's pretty much dead. Scarbrand is being shot down here by these archers, but it's going to take a little while to get that to go through. Look at this, the mounted yeomen are coming in over the hill, the right of the Rohirrim, but with bows this time. As these guys are going to be kept at bay for just another little while. Looking at this here, they are going to go for that dive against the archer. The archers are going to be very important here. Any bit of skirmish at all that's allowed to stand, or even a little bit of kite at the end game here, is going to be pretty important, as these guys are going to be charged in the Marauder Horsemen. Looking a little bit bleak for them, but they're probably going to take out those archers. But there's still an awful lot of counter battery coming in here. We've at least one. How many of them are still online? There's 1, 2. These guys are pretty much dead. But looking at this here, these Marauder Horsemen are getting chipped down. And Scarbrand is getting shot to itty bitty bits, but a Grail Relique is more or less down. I think that's both of the Grail Reliques gone. As Rapunce is going to be copping the Minos. Big meanies, more like, am I right? And that's probably going to be her. If not dead, then not far off it. Scarbrand's getting shot to bits, but is it going to be too late for Rapunce? She just about manages to duck, dive, and weave to get past the Minotaurs. I love their animations. They're so goofy. Holy moly. This is going to be the Minos. Still very healthy. Scarbrand still very healthy. We still have a couple of skirmish cav coming back here from the side of Corn. But there's still pretty much a 2 for 2. Oh dear. 2 for 3 currently. And that looks like we're going to be seeing more Duders rout. These halberds going to be shot, but without that armor piercing, it's going to be pretty rough. We do see the Minos finally been targeted down. One of the Minos has come back. I think we need to focus fire on some of these Minos to get them off the board. I think that could possibly be the play, as that is going to be pretty much all the front line gone. Gotrek is still holding out. And that looks like the balance of power. Most stuff is en route, or en route to routing. Lamau. Minos still getting shot here. The skirmish corps is still in it. If they can take out this Minos and a little bit of mass, and maybe Scarbrandu, they might be in a better position. But I think taking out a variety of the mass that's going on here is probably the play. But it's hard to tell, as that's going to be the army losses, and unfortunately Scarbrand takes the W. GG's. 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 Let me just check up and see if there's anything else. Nope. All is good. I think I got all the replays for the tournament. I'll re-download them anyway. I want to see if there's any of them that are worth recasting. I'm probably going to recast the Milky Way fight with Queek going absolutely crazy Alright, where is a Bretonia? Where was it? Brett versus... Why have I lost it? How do I manage this? Angel, there we go. And the devil. Okay. Alright. I think we watch this. I wanna see Frost get a win. That is what I wanna do. I wanna see it. I wanna see the great squiggening of 2025 take a W. And it might just do it in this. The great squig blob. Good God. What an excellent shitpost. Alright. He does the same thing every time. Alright. We have the Rothing Prometheans. With the guns. We have the Lamprey's Revenge. Epic. That's so cool. That's very cool. There we go. We have some doggos. The scurvy ones. And then we have Depth Guard frontline with regular gunners in the background with Celestra up on the Crabbo. Look at her go. How very theatrical of her. Epic. And then we have the Squig Blob. I can't really quite tell what's going on here. Did he make them invisible? They're hidden. Oh my god, this is freaking hilarious. Alright, and then the blob goes. We have the Burpa, we have a Colossal Squig, we have Squig Hoppers, we have Mangler Squigs, we got it all here, folks. As it does seem as though the Colossal Squig and the Acid Burpa are gonna go headbutt Celestra for a bit. As they all start to fan out. Look at them go. Look at them go. Celostra's actually taking some decent damage here. Depth Guard are holding for now. Don't know where the Mangler Squigs went. They are managing to hold up some of these chaps. Mangler Squigs getting to mangling. Scurvy Dog's going down. One Depth Guard is pretty much nearly gone. Hysterical stuff. It does seem as though the balance of power was erring slightly on the side of the greenskins. I don't know why the audio has disappeared. Celestra has escaped from the Acid Burpa. But it does look as though the greenskins are slowly but surely running out of steam. The Colossal Squig is going to go after some of these rotting Prometheans. He's probably going to explode here. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. I need to see the explosion. He does explode when he dies, doesn't he? Yeah, blow apart. Now he seems to be okay. The Night Goblin Big Boss is just having a grand old time there with Celestra. The balance of power says it's dead even. As we see some Squig herds and Dirkit's Squigs shamble off into the next dimension. More Squig Hoppers going ham. Pirate Gunnery Mob is more or less down. Balance of power still says it's dead even, as the Night Goblin Big Boss is still currently headbutting Celestra for a bit. Oh no, he's going to explode, isn't he? Is he going to explode? It's all possible. As it does seem, the balance of power is slowly but surely going towards Codex's amazing Depth Guard rush, which then headbutted a bunch of Squigs. As we do see Goblin Great Shaman amble off into the next. We are seeing more stuff slowly but surely starting to disappear off the board. The Mangler Squigs are still mangling away to their heart's content. Squig Hoppers going. As that seems to be the Rotting Prometheans finally holding up a Squig herd and the Acid Burpa. There's not actually all that much left on the side of... Yeah, but the balance of power is definitely going in the favour as more and more stuff is starting to rout off. They have nothing to deal with the Lamprey's Revenge. As another Rotting Promethean comes down, and that's going to be the army losses. Unfortunately, there is not yet a win for the Great Squiggening of 2025. Frost, you mad lad. You absolutely mad lad. An absolute unit. A legend will be told of the Great Squiggening. How did they even do? 1,000. Mangler Squigs got like 700. Regular ass Squigs 270. The Squig Hoppers, not really great. 700. Nothing really got value. The Rotting Prometheans and the Lamprey's Revenge ate well, as all of the depth guard died. Most of these guys got shot off. They all got really good value. Any of them that left more than paid for themselves. Celostra didn't do great. The Damned Paladin did okay. But yeah, what a silly build. Absolutely unreal. Alright, so let's get rid of that. That is the Great Squiggening. Is that the last of those matches? No, we had another one versus Blood Pingwing. What could possibly go wrong? There we go, we can delete that. We'll come back to that later. Let's go for Spotify. Yo, Kino. How goes it? We're just finishing off the casts from yesterday's SFT. I had to go to work and my voice was blitzed come the end of it. So let's take a look at Milky Way versus Spotify. Let's take a peek. Scarbrand won. He did. He won pretty well. Actually, if I look to... I have to go to Twitch chat and get the challenge. What was actually the... Yeah, he didn't drop a stock. Seagau's only dropped one. I forget who he dropped it to. And then Angel, Seagau's, Gepidors, and Pug all went 3-1. It was a good tournament. That was a really pretty stacked as well. Alright, either way. Let's take a peek here as we have the Clan Rat Spears. I think all of them have shields. Yeah, as they do. We have the Clan Rats with shields then on the flanks. We have our Warplock Jezzails, Avalanche Mortars, Natty Bubos, the ROR, who are hiding. Sneaky boys. Skaven Slave Slings, Roger Box, Clan Rats in behind. Pretty standard stuff. What does the Quickening have? Stand Your Ground, Trophy Heads, Dwarf Gouger, and then just scurry away. And I think it's Warp Shard Armor, just for that debuff. Usually the mobile box is Milky Way's general vibe. Funny enough, he didn't go the Poison Wind Globes, which is kind of an interesting one. Although I guess that he expected that to happen. See guys, he played Nurgle. He played a very patient game into Pug. A very, very patient game. And he managed to take the win against his Norska, which was a really good one. It's in the VOD from yesterday. That was a damn fine game. But either way, we have the Elemental Bear, ROR. Okay, I think he's going to get shot to bits. Armored Corsair frontline. We have the Ataman on his... He's on foot. Spotify, why did you take him on foot? I'm confused. I'm bamboozled even. Oh, as the shots are ringing out. Better catch on. Watchmen in the Night. ROR Armored Corsairs. Some Akshina Ambushers in the backfield. Griffin Legion. And I think that's it. Is one of them the Wolf Hearts? No, he didn't take the Wolf Hearts this time. Interesting choice. Alright, cool. What does the Ataman even get as he's getting shot to bits? Ataman? There we go. Full Seeker, Charmed Shield, Stand Your Ground, Buy Our Blood, Heroic Resilience, and the Blood of the Motherland. Blood of the Motherland! Alright, as the shots are ringing out, we are going to see these Armoured Corsairs get absolutely blasted here by the Avalanche Mortars, as is their habit. As the Warp Black Jezzails are having a whale of a time shooting at the giant bear. Big target, easy to shoot, and he's probably going to get caught up by Rogers in a second. Milky Way playing a very, not really pushing up with his front line, as he does have a Warlock Engineer here with Flensing Ruin. And of course, Warp Lightning on in the background. We see the bear actually go for some shots in here against the Clan Rats, but the Elemental Bear is currently getting shot to bits, slowly but surely, as Queek is going to... Queek, the brave Queek. Queek the Brave goes in and solos him as he takes a big chunk of damage for his troubles. But that should just hold him up for just long enough. Rogers really need to get in there and hold him back. Rogers! Roger over! Rogers, what are you doing? Come on! Lock him up. Lock him up, lads. As that is going to be the Warp Black Jezzails getting shot up, but they are going to take out the Frozen Heart of Winter. As the Akshina ambushers now are going to get shot up. Looking at this here, we are going to see the Clan Rat Spear start to move up. That is the Elemental Bear gone. What the hell is Spotify doing? I have absolutely no idea, but he doubled down. As that is the Elemental Bear dissipating into oblivion. As we are now going to see the Rogers push forward. Rogers doing a phenomenal job here of just pushing up and taking some damage. Queek Headtaker pushing on as the front line now moves forward to try and take on the stuff. Griffin Legion are going to be a little bit of a problem, but they should. I think the Jezzails will probably be okay if we can hold them up with the Rogers and stuff for just long enough. They might not even have to deal with them, as the entirety of Spotify's army is more or less taken down at this point. His front line is crumbling. The Cav are still in play, but the Avalanche Mortar has finally been taken out. As we are going to see now the Warlock Engineer pop forward. Probably going to get those Flensing Ruins down. Buyer Blood Power Rocked on these Armored Cossars. Same with these ones here. Yeah, the front line is more or less gone, as these Griffin Legion now are going to be slung at. And the Natty Buboes still shooting them away. Looking at this here, we are seeing this other unit of the Griffin Legion coming in across. Don't really have much support here for this backfield, as the Avalanche Mortars are going to do a disgraceful amount of friendly fire to take down these Armoured Cossars. Akshina Ambushers nearly gone. The Ataman is still very healthy. Rogers here pushing up. One Roger is pretty wounded, as we're going to see the there we go. Look at that. Look at how much damage these goddamn things do. How much... What's up, Endura? How much have they... 1,400! And they still have ammunition. They might not be able to use that ammunition, but they do have it. As the Griffin Legion are being pushed back here by the Natty Buboes, as they're now going to turn around. Rogers are in a spot of bother. Let's get some pot shots here as they rip off some pot shots. Epic. Look at them go. I would play the... Oh my god, the Rogers are holding them up! The routing Rogers! Holding up the Griffin Legion! Let's go! Skaven morale finally coming in clutch. They're still held up. I love this video game sometimes. As we see now, the front line is still more or less completely dissipated. I think there's like one pretty healthy Armoured Cossar. As Buyer Blood is now procced. The Avalanche Mortars are probably going to get... Oh, no! They actually managed to get away with it, but they are going to rout. And to answer your question, I think Spotify went in trying to prove a point, and he did not, in fact, prove a point, Cookino. I think that's what was going on here. As we are seeing the last of these Armoured Cossars getting knelt to a cross. Ataman, dead. Queek, 3 kills, but they were very important, trust. As the last of these Akshina ambushers are caught up, Watchmen in the Night are pretty much dead. These Akshina ambushers are not having a good time, as we see the Clan Rat Spears finally saturate into them. And it's a GG, WP, shake the hand. Unlucky Spotify. Not sure luck had very much to do with this one, I'm afraid. GG's. I don't think I've ever seen the Elemental Bear taken in a serious game. One of the Griffin Legion did okay. I think that was the one that managed to get the dive on the Natty Buboes. Nearly 2k damage on the buboes. Avalanche Mortar well over 2k. Rogers did okay as roadblocks. How did Queek do? Queek, my beloved. He didn't do terribly. The Ataman did sweet fuck all. So I can see him against Commander WhatsApp in finals. True, Amelia. Oh, good cup of coffee. But yeah, Action Ambushers? How much are Action Ambushers, actually? Let me just delete that real quick. Goodbye. Yes. How much are Action Ambushers going for? How much are they going for these days? Where are the Kislev? Yeah, they came close. Not great, but they came close. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I have no idea what Spotify was trying to pull, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it was him and Pasha might have had beef. And so he was trying to prove a point. I have no idea. I'm still deeply confused by the entire thing. But either way, let's crack on. Is this going to be Lich versus Prime? I think this is Lich versus Prime. I believe so. Oh no, it's Milky Way again. Sin Fishy versus Milky Way. It was weird, but he tried. You know what? Everyone gets a gold star for trying. All right, what do we got here? What have we got? What's Prime cooking? Is he going for the full kite build? He is. All right, so is he going Doombolt? Yes, he's going Doombolt. Is it on a unicorn? Is it on a unicorn or is he on... He's getting Spell Mastery in the woods. Yeah, just Doombolt, Blessings of the Ancients. And that's about all he's going for here. Power Stone might be handy. Because as we have some Glade Riders with Spears in the woods. We have some Dryads in the backfield. Trying to get some flanking action in. The Eyes of Tequila, the Way Watchers, more Way Watchers, and a Way Stalker here with probably Arrow Kernos. Yep. And then some regular ass Glade Guard with some more Glade Riders with Spears watching. Interesting choice as we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Dryads, one of which is the Rat of the Frozen Heart in the backfield. As Milky Way is going to be rocking. Throth the Unclean. Rogers. Avalanche Mortars again. Poison Wind Globadiers. More Rogers. Clanrat Spears. Skaven Slaves. Spears. Regular Clanrats. And then just both of them mixed in between. As we're going to see the point immediately going to be contested by Prime. And I think they're regular... Yeah, they're just the regular Poison Wind Globadiers. We haven't seen the fancy ones yet. As they are going to have the Dryads immediately take some pretty nasty damage here. But that's going to leave the Avalanche Mortar very susceptible to being shot out by the Way Watchers. As the kite is about to begin. Looking at these Dryads are going to disengage for the time being. Wolf Rats, of course, are in the woods. Probably going to be a handy thing once the Glade Riders try to commit. As Throth has taken an insane amount of damage. Holy. Probably just from the Way Watchers as well. As these Dryads are going to sneak in. A little bit uncoordinated here on the approach to start off. As the dive, some of this is going to arrive just a little bit too early. As the Rogers are going to commit against the Dryads. We're seeing these Way Watchers having to... being kited out here by the Rogers, but it does seem as though we're going to get some focus fire on those Rat Ogres, considering that they are the problem. Waystalker is still bing chilling. The Eye of Kernos. Probably not the best thing to have the Eye of Kernos over here, considering it's not really supporting the rest of his army. Rogers are going to get the dive here on these Way Watchers. Throth is dangerously low with these Avalanche Mortars being sent off. As we see the Glade Riders now finally tried to get the commit here. just to get some charge damage in here. Wolf Rats are going to be intercepted by the Glade Riders here. This will be good opportunity to get the charge in on the Glade Riders, but unfortunately Milky Way messed up and they are going to be intercepted. One of them manages to get a dive in on the Way Watchers. I think they're the Way Watchers. Yes, the Way Watchers are going to be intercepted. As another one is intercepted, the Kite is finally starting to fall apart here, but an awful lot of Milky Way's army is not having a good time as Throt is going to take the fight to the Spellweaver of Dark. But is she going to be able to get some cast Doom Bolts in? As it does seem as though Flensing Ruin is down on her. She's going to be taking some serious damage. That physical spell resistance, though, is going to come in clutch here, as we are seeing Throt try and push her off the edge. I'm not sure. Are they having a race? Never mind. Doesn't matter. We'll look away from that. That's... Ugh. Glade Guard are still in play. Glade Guard are being caught up here by Skaven Slaves. I think they're Skaven Slaves. No, Clan Rat Spears. Looking here. Clan Rats have caught up these guys. Their ability has been procced. Maybe a little bit too early as these Rogers are still chasing off some stuff. We're going to get those, the Aura War Way Watchers by the looks of things. Looking at this, these Glade Guard here are caught up here by the Clan Rats. But they have been intercepted by some Glade Riders. As we are going to see these Wolf Rats here kind of chilling out, vibing. Relaxing, chillaxing, as the Glade Guard are going to make pew-pew noises at them. Looking here, the Warlock Engineer is still in play. Most of these Dryads are going to be sent off as they have some Clan Rat Spears with some Roger support, but looks pretty good so far. They are going to be okay. As we are seeing Throt being sent off. Balance of Power is now dead even again. But the Kite... There's still enough Kite elements here that they might be able to pull through. Even with these Rogers now trying to send them home. We still have some Glade Guard. We still have one of the... two Glade Guard. And these Hawkeyes of Tequila still in play. I think the Rogers need to go after them if they're going to go after anything. Waystalker. The Waystalker? Yeah, Waystalker is still being caught up. Throt is being sent off. Skaven are en route. Still dead even on the Balance of Power. Even with Throt sent off. Milky Way is not out of it yet, but looking at this here, these Clan Rats have been sent off. Rat Ogres are going to get caught here by the Glade Riders, but looks like these Glade Guard are going to be sent home. The last of the Way Watchers, sorry, are still vibing out over there, as they've managed to send off the Rogers. This is actually a pretty tight game. Some of the Kite elements are still in play, as we are going to see the Poison Wind Globadiers get some really nice shots here on these Glade Riders. But looking at that, they're one shot off of these Aura War Way Watchers, managing to send an entire Poison Wind Globadier to its doom. Warlock Engineer is getting sniped out. Does he has Howling Warp Gale and only Flensing Ruin? But looking at this here, these Glade Riders are going to be chipped down slowly but surely as these Rat Ogres are going to get the dive in on the last of these Way Watchers. That is the Warlock Engineer gone, though. Army losses could come in clutch. And look at that! Doombolt. Doing Doombolt things. Unfortunate bestie as the Balance of Power creeps away from Milky Way. But the Rogers do finally get in on the Hawkeyes. But we still have a very healthy Lord. Some Glade Guards still in play as the Rat Ogres are going to get the charge in on them. The Cav elements are almost gone as the Rogers get a charge in on them. This might not be over just yet. We still have an AFK Clan Rat Spear. That is going to be the Rat Ogres breaking, though. They didn't get the Hawkeyes. With the Glade Guard in support. These Rogers are still in play. And a lot of Winds of Magic to spend yet. And I think... Is that it? I'm not sure. If these Rogers don't manage to get the dive in on these Glade Guard or these Hawkeyes, it could be GG. And so it is GG. Prime taking the W. Well played, well played. I actually, as a Skaven, I'm not actually sure what you do there. That's rough. That's very freaking rough. Painful even. Because they just have Lord Snipe. Do you just hide your Lord? Or maybe you kind of get Chieftains. Maybe Chieftains might be the play. Maybe rush. I mean, you'd have to rush to some capacity, true. And hope that the game is over before they're able to get all their casts. But like, 2 or 3 casts is all it takes to take out a Lord, really. Throt might have actually been the play. But yeah, I don't know. That's painful. I don't actually know what you do there. But seeing as your leadership is so important. Actually, I do need to check something. So my audio is being weird. One thing I do need to check with Doombolt is I know that the Eagle mounts are pretty scuffed. So I'm just going to go Wood Elves. Yeah, Lore of Dark. Just take all of that. And then Vampire counts. There is one thing I do need to check, because I know there's a lot of jank. So we'll do 2 tests. We'll do Standing Still. Just put him up on a Hellsteed for the time being. And we'll go Sandbox for this one. I just want to see if... Because I know that these Lord, the Hellsteeds are pretty jank when it comes to stuff. It's been on my list, because in the current meta with Doombolt being as good as it is, it's made Vampire counts even more unplayable into Wood Elves. Start battle. Let's just get enough Winds of Magic. No, it does hit him. Because it's Wood Elves, for whatever reason, on both their dragons and their regular dudes, are so jank with Doombolt. I don't quite understand. Let's just do an undercast one and see what happens. Yeah, it can hit him. Okay. Pretty consistently. In battle. Because if... The last thing I want to do is probably take this matchup then. Like ever. Unless I just hide my Lord in the woods and go tee-hee. Okay. And then just do... Very hard because they're probably going to rush. Actually, so there's no army losses super quick. Let's just get rid of everything. Except Arcane Conduit. Because there's so much jank with this. Maybe if he's moving, it's not going to hit. Because they have the weird wobble animation that's pretty silly. Like, not relevant to this, but it could be relevant for other matchups. Okay, so he's moving forward. No, it does still hit him. That's pretty funny. Lamau. XD. So it's literally just Eagle Mounts that are the most jank thing with this spell. Yeah, there. GG's. Alright, that's fine. Just wanted to know. Alright. So the flying jank with Doombolt is just jank for the elves. Okay. Alright then. Alright. Skaven versus Wood Elves. We can delete that. Yes, please. We have a lot of Skaven matches left, but I think what we'll do here is we'll look at Blood Pingwing versus, I forget who the Orc player was. Although there was a couple of Orc players. There was... Let's take a peek. They'll probably tell us and they'll load up. Curio! Curio into Plague Pingwing, also known as Blood Pingwing. And we'll not ask him what his Slaanesh breed of Pingwing is. Let's not ask that. Maybe let's not go there. Alright, we got it. What do we have? And my audio is still scuffed. I'll probably have to do a restart. On the side of the Orcs, their mobility is going to be Orc Boar Boys, Broken Tusk Mob, Aura War, Orc Boar Boy Biggins. More Orc Boar Boys. And even more Orc Boar Boys. The crew. Orc Arab Boys then with the armoured orcs. In the background, some more Orc Arab Boys. Nice ranged contingent, actually. Weird. Some orcs with spears, some more orcs with spears. The 8 Piccaloonies, which I believe have the spinning... Yeah, they have the loons. More spears. And then what do they have on their Black Orc Big Boss? Brass Cleaver for extra damage. And where's their lord? Where's he hiding? What is he building in there? Oh, he's hiding. It's a Goblin Great Shaman who is vibing out in the forest on a giant spooter with his vindictive glare. He's going to pop out, get some casts, and then go burr. As we see the Luminarch. Let's get a slow-mo shot on this. Is it going to hit the... No, it doesn't. It skims across the ground. Oh, no. Hang on a second. Boo. It missed. Legend. Alright, we have the Templehof Luminarch, which is very cool. We have an Arch Lector with the Grand Hammer of Sigmar and the Grand Shield of Faith. We have some Nuln Ironsides on either side. Hochland Long Rifles falling in behind for that Lord Snipe. More Nuln Ironsides. Handgunners in the background. It's pike and shot without the pike, or the shot. And then a Light Wizard, then of course with the Net of Amontok. Some Hammer of the Witches. That's a build. That is a build. Good lord. And the silver bullets as well in the middle. Is that everything? Blood Penguin, you absolute legend. As we are going to see the Orc Big Boss amble forward just outside of range as the Hochland Long Rifles start peppering the giant spooter. Giant enemy spider is now going to have to amble out. Looking at this here, the Nuln Ironsides are going to continue going burn on the Black Orc Big Boss. Hochland Long Rifles still picking away. That is going to be the Orc Boss sent home as a vindictive glare comes down on the Templarch Luminarch. The Nuln Ironsides go pew 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 pew. And that is going to be one of their leadership sources gone. I believe he is in Courage. Doesn't matter, he's dead. We'll find out again. As we are now going to see the Light Wizard come down. Sending down probably a Net of Amontok onto some high value target, which is probably going to be the Orc Boar Boys. Not sure, as the Nuln Ironsides are continuing to try and get the peppering. Templarch Luminarch is going to be trying to figure out something else to shoot, as that is going to be the Orc Boar Boys sent home. Still going to be shot to bits, as you have these handgunners in the background continuing to go pew pew. The Orcs have reached the front line, though, unfortunately. I'm looking at this, the Orc Boar Boys coming in into the flanks to try and get these handgunners, which they probably are going to do. Archlector, another Orc Boar Boy, is more or less gone. The Nuln Ironsides firing off some shots here into the Broken Tusk mob. The Goblin Great Shaman is still vibing out in the forest. Maybe looking to get a dive later as these Hochland Long Rifles taking down the Nuln Ironsides, doing their best as the cannon is peppering these Orc Boar Boys as they're coming in forward over the trees and far away. As it looks like the Archlector's caught up in a bunch of spears, probably not where he wants to be. The Luminarch is going to be taken down, which gives the giant enemy Spooter an opportunity to come across, who is still going to be slowly but surely taken down here by the Hammer of the Witches, as half the flank is now dissipated. Still some Nuln Ironsides holding out beyond all hope. So we're going to see the Light Wizard pop into melee, as the giant enemy Spooter is taking a lot of damage. He's going to rout. Uh-oh. He didn't even reach the front line. The grand ploy did not succeed. Ripperoni and Pepperoni. So many missiles to defend from what I caught. Yeah, it was a lot. And of course, with the Light Wizard with net as well. Anything that gets a bit dicey, you just have that opportunity. But the Orc Boar Boys coming in. The right of the Pig Hero. And over the top, the giant enemy Spooter is dead. He's dead, Jim. And these Orc Boar Boys are going to come back in across. Archlector hammering. He said it was hammering time, and he was not lying. As we are now going to see these Orc Boar Boys rout just before they get in. But a full health, pretty much a full health Orc Boar Boy still in the background. The Hochland Long Rifles doing their damnedest just to get a hold in here, as they're probably going to be good night and good luck. looking at this here, we still have a few pretty beat up units just about holding out in the background, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough as the silver bullets are still in play. Getting some nice shots in here, but it's just an overwhelming amount of force. As we're going to see the Archlector get chopped up a little bit. Silver bullets still shooting. They actually are taking a lot of damage here. Even if I think he takes out the mobility here, I don't think it really matters, considering there's still a range superiority now. Funny enough, on the side of the Orcs, Lord goes down. Light Wizard is going down. That is going to be Curio taking the W. But how's it going, Bahrain? How much value did the Luminaire got? Not much, really. Cannons did okay. Handgunners did okay. The Null Ironsides actually held out an awful lot longer in melee than I thought they would. Silver bullets, I think, paid for themselves. Hockler long rifles, I think all of them... No, one of them kind of paid for itself, I think. It's 900, I think, for one of them. 8 or 900. Blood Penguin being cheeky. He is being cheeky. Empire mains, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It was a good shot, though. I mean, most of the mobility was pretty much either dead or dying. The Lords were more or less gone. Like, I think the main aim was to hope that he deployed his Lord in the middle. Because he got the character snipes pretty much right away. I mean, if that first Luminarch shot had actually hit, he probably would have gotten the double. He might have had enough gas in the tank to be able to take out other stuff. But I don't know. Silly build. Cool build, though. I will give him that. I think he's trying at the buffed Archlector. I don't really see how it would work out with all the missiles no peel build. Maybe he's just trying to see if the Null Ironsides can output enough DPS to actually hold off stuff. Because they do have... Don't they have the suppressing fire? Delete that. Yeah, I don't need that. Hang on a second. Give me just a moment. Let me just check. Because there's something funky, I think, with Null Ironsides. I've never used them. I've dabbled a little bit in Empire. I think there's only one faction I have a build for Empire to deal with. And that's the Chaos... the Chorfs. Wait, what am I doing? Empire. There we go. Don't they have something special? No, just Black Powder Discipline. I thought they had suppressing fire or something. But no, they don't. They're not rattling guns, unfortunately. Yeah, the issue here is he's going all in with missiles and those units have a hard time protecting each other. No, I 100% get you. I was just seeing if there was some jank involved. Okay. We haven't seen many of Lich's fights. Although we haven't seen any of these either. Especially against something like Greenskins, where they're probably going to go for mass. Especially how cost effective an awful lot of their cav can be as well. Although I'm not sure if that's still the case. Again, I defer to you guys. Because they're going to go for a pretty wide build there. Alright, either way. Lizards. The Monster Mash. Who did the mash? Lord Mazamundi. What does he have? Cold-blooded. Shield of the Old Ones. Banishment. Ruination of cities. And Apotheosis. With the arcane, Greater Arcane. Greater Arcane Conduit. Bastiladon, the Rev Crystal, getting that nice little bit of a buff. Healing, resing, doing funny things. An Ancient Stegodon with the Engine of the Gods. Some Skink Skirmish Core. Some Feral Cold Ones. And then what else is there? Cord, Sotek, Blessed Saurus, more Skinks, more Saurus, more Skinks. Apparently the Saurus have been doing quite well since the buff, so it wouldn't shock me if we're seeing a bunch of stuff being tested out in these next few SFTs. The Orc Labourers are out with the Blunderbuss support, looking to nuke down some of those big fellers. Kadai Fireborn out as well. More of the unpaid labour coming out here. Chaos Dwarf Warriors, just for a staunch line of axe and boards. And then he has the Sorcerer Prophet of Fire with the Burning Head, Cascading Fire Cloak, and the Piercing Bolts of Burning and the Vial of Hashut, giving the debuff aura to Kadai Fireborn, and the Demon's Tongue Iron Demon, which is just an absolute creature. He got Blessed Saurus. Let's have Perfect Vigor. Not sure if he's gone with the regular ones. Let me just see. He has the Blessed Saurus. Yes, Blessed Saurus. Now, the rest is just the Red Crested and the Aurora Red Crested. Yeah, Perfect Vigor. Good spot. I missed that completely. This is why I am new. And we have some Chameleon Stalkers in the background. Alright! Cracking on. Let's see what they're going to do. Skin Cohort is going to crash in that front line, as the Demon's Tongue is going to do some shenanigans. Looking at this, the Blessed Saurus are going to crash in. Skin Cohort managing to get these Orc Labourers and these Red Crested Skinks crashing in as well. Kadai Fireborn going ham, but we are going to see some Skin Cohort with Jav support, as the Feral Cold ones are going to be chilling in the background waiting to see what they're going to do. Obviously, these Chameleon Stalkers are going to come forward, try and get rid of some of these Orc Blunderbusses. They're going to go pew-pew, and look at that. That front line is already starting to buckle as the Banishment comes down here on one of the Blunderbuss. And look at that, the other one is in a state of disarray here as the Chameleon Skinks are going to crash in. Looking at that, they're trying to take up Mazimunzi instead of a Ruination of Cities insta-killed one of the Blunderbusses, as it would. And look at this, they're now starting to burst through, allowing the Monster Mash to plow on in. Ancient Stegodon is there. Look at this, the Orc Labourers now are trying to re-evaluate life decisions. Look at this here, the Demon's Tongue is still going burr here on the flank, but looking at this, the front line is slowly but surely starting to crumble here for the Chaos Dwarves. So that is going to be a Piercing Bolt of Burning coming down there just to try and get some good damage, but it looks like it hit the Dwarf Warriors more so than it did anything else. Ripperoni and Pepperoni. We're still seeing these Feral Cold ones try and duke it out here with the Kadai Fireborn. They are rampage, but they seem to be doing good damage. Here's the Kadai Fireborn are slowly but surely going down. Obviously, they are lacking that support. But the Red Crested Skinks here with the Unbreakable are going to duke it out till the end. Both sides trading pretty well here on this flank. Look at this, the Demon's Tongue is duking, diving, weaving to try and get out there as it crashes through. So this Skink Cohort not going to be held down. As we do see the Bastillodon with the Rev Crystal still vibing out. Both of them looking to try and chase down the Demon's Tongue. Considering that's probably the biggest threat here, is these Kadai Fireborn are being ground down slowly but surely. And look at that, the Feral Cold ones getting that nice charge against the fleeing Blunderbusses. Probably going to make sure that they do not come back into the fight. The Fireborn are finally eaten alive. Although I'm not sure if they're alive or not. I'm not sure how that one goes. We'll have scientists argue. Look at this, the Feral Cold ones continuing to crash down, get that cycle charge in, and I think that's more or less a GG, as we're just going to fast forward this. Let it all come down, the Piercing Bolts of Burning just to go down. Go down in flames. No GG's. Alright, how Mazimunzi did a phenomenal job with that Ruination of Cities. And of course, in the Banishment taking out the ranged core of the Cool Hatted Dwarves. I don't know what the secret sauce in this matchup. Lizards have very effective counters to most CD units. It's not a matchup I've seen much, but this is just... We're seeing a few more different things being used by Chaos Dwarves lately. I'm not seeing just the Monster Mash. It's not quite as much SE spam. I've seen the Kadai used a fair bit recently, and I'm not sure were they buffed in the most recent patch by chance? I have to go through the patch notes and just see what they've done, because I'm seeing a good few people use them. Obviously, when I'm playing vampire counts, it makes a degree of sense, right? 70... Ah, that would explain it. But yeah, it's usually... I'm seeing an awful lot of the... There's a good number of things that I'm seeing used. Yeah, the blunderbusses did absolutely sweet damn all. Cheapest mass piece is still... Yeah. Mazzy did good. Stalkers did decently well at just taking out that last blunderbuss unit. These guys just duked it out pretty well. Feral Cold ones did their job as well. Pretty much everything did what it needed to do. Yeah, unfortunate for Bahrain. Gepadors. Doing a solid job. Alright. We still have a bunch of Skaven to go through. Let me just clear out some of these. I'm going to have to go through all of these again. Where is it gone to? Is this it? Nope. Did I already delete it? Am I stupid? Ah, there it is. There we go. Alright. Do we want to go Empire? Alright, I want to see... I want to see this. Oh no, it's the Angels! Dreadquake Mortar. Alright, you know what? A moment of silence for our boy Frost. Although, is this Frost? Oh god, yeah! I'm fairly sure this is Frost again. No, it's Curio. Wait, what? Wait, hang on a sec. Okay. Alright, now I'm curious. What are they cooking? I thought this was Frost again taking the other mass Moby build. What is this? Alright. Gorbad. Ironclaw, what has he got? The axes. The Morgler and Mangler. Giving him that nice little bit of a boof. The Great Leader, and that's it. Otherwise, Nakey. And then we've Death Creepers and some Kite. And then we have Mass Mobility. But we do have the Squig Hoppers, more Squig Hoppers, Boarboy Biggins. Is this okay, you're gonna have to explain this to me. Is this real? Chat, is this real? Is this a legitimate build, or was he inspired by the shenanigans of Frost? Is Frost starting a trend? As we are going to see the bit of a skirmish core going in here, going up against the Angels of Decay, Chosen of Nurgle, Chosen of Nurgle, Chosen of Nurgle, the Frolickers, Grok is Scissor Heel, and then the Nurgle Sorcerer with, is it Fleshy Abundance? Yeah, Fleshy Abundance for those heals. Ezar Doombolt, Tamarkan, the Maggot Lord, vibing out in the Chosen, and then a Dreadquake Mortar. Oh god. Alright. Does he have anything special? Just the Nurgle's favourite son, the Black Cleaver. And Feast of the Maggot Lord. Yeah, all's good. All is good. As we're seeing the surround begin, and the cycle, the cycle of charging commences. As we're seeing Ezar Doombolt make some pew-pew noises. As the Chosen Nurgle are going to be shot from behind. As we're seeing... If it wasn't going to get me copyright struck, I would be playing the Right of the Rohirrim right now. As the Squigs are going to go for their initial charge. Going to be slightly disrupted here by their own units. As the first charge goes through. Getting a nice little bit of damage to start off with. You'll love to see it. Going for a nice surround here in the Chosen Nurgle. Anti-infantry armor piercing going to come in clutch here. As we do see the Dreadquake Mortar make pew pew noises. Epic. Are they going to path out of the Quake part of the Dreadquake as the Savage Orc Boar Boys get a surround here in the Dreadquake Mortar? Savage Orc Boar Boys coming in from behind here, getting ready to hit in. These Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are going to be ground down by the Chosen of Nurgle. As we see an Orc Shaman here. What does he have? I forgot to count it. Fist of Gork and the Foot of Gork. Foot of Gork here. Excellent. As we now do see the Cycle Charge commence. Getting them really nice surround here. The Broken Tusk Mob here is going to be duking it out with Tamarkan along with some support here from Gorbad. As the Foot of Gork comes down. Boom! The hammer comes down. And then we see a Cycle Charging continue over here. The Angels of Decay are going to be trying to do some shenanigans along with that support from the Chaos Warhounds, who are hiding. Sneaky fellers. And we are seeing Tamarkan slowly but surely getting ground down by this. Look at this, the Dreadquake Mortar is going to be probably taken out shortly as it is going to rout right before the Savage Orc Boar Boys break. That was not a close, that was a pretty close thing. I'm going to hear the Cycle Charging continues here as the Squig Hoppers come back from beyond the grave. As we are going to see that Orc Shaman try and take this thing down. The Angels of Decay are still up in the skies. Going to be taking out the Savage Orc Boar Boys. Does seem as though the Orcs are in the lead so far, and I'd be inclined to agree. As they have all the agency, all the mobility. As the Angels of Decay are still just about hanging in there. And will see the Fleshy Abundance go down and actually go down on the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle. Interdasting. And we're seeing the cavalry kind of grinding it out here against the Chosen of Nurgle, which is probably a bit of a mistake. Some more Cycle Charging. It's probably the play here is they are going to rally. Looking at this, the Orc Shaman still vibing, still chilling. With a very healthy Chosen of Nurgle still in play. Some more Chosen of Nurgle still coming out there. As we have taken out at least one of the Warhounds, but they'll probably come back for more punishment later. Squig Hoppers back in play. Trying to duke it out here with the Angels here as the skirmish continues. Savage Orc Boar Boy setting up now for another surround. Broken Tusk Mob has been broken. Orc Shaman is going to be kind of getting the hell out of dodge. Tamarkan is slowly but surely healing back up, I believe. I imagine that's going to be a couple of Fleshy Abundances away from there. He is still taking damage. We're seeing some more skirmish. Where is... They obviously have taken out... Obviously they've taken it out as we are going to see the Angels of Decay more than... They're going ham. They're happy out. We're going to see now these Savage Orc Boar Boys come in now to try and give some support. Gorbad, Ironclaw coming back into the fight. Are they not... They're not grinding this one out. Hardly. As the balance of power shifts dramatically over in favor... Actually coming out in favor. What the heck? Yeah, not getting those Angels of Decay sniped out early is going to really come down to bite him in the ass. Those things can carry games. The weight... Their backs are broken with how much they have to carry these games. Tamarkan is going to be isolated there for just a second. Not going to be dived by anything. We need to see that Cycle Charging come in here. As the Savage Orc Boar Boys are going to break. The big guns coming in to get a charge. The last of the ammunition coming out in the Angels of Decay. As the balance of power evens out just a little bit. As most of the cavalry has balanced it out. They have to cycle. They can't grind in combat here. They're going to have to continue Cycle Charging it out. As we are going to see Gorbad take the fight here with Ezra Doombolt. As the Angels of Decay are still throwing their last few volleys in. They're probably all on the verge of breaking. And if they break, the balance of power shifts wildly. That could be army losses here. What on earth? The Angels descend from on high. Catching Gorbad, who's now isolated on his lonesome. Who's going to have to take on Tamarkan, Ezar, and the Angels of Decay, which I'm not sure he could do. Maybe he can. Is he taking a 1v1 here? The duel has been called the Gauntlet Throne. As these guys are going to reconsider life decisions before immediately routing off. A Foot of Gork here could change the course of the battle. But I'm not sure if he has any winds of magic left. As Gorbad now is taking a little bit of a battering. Tamarkan is nearly out of it. Is the fleshy abundance down on him, though? Or has it run out? Tamarkan doesn't have fleshy abundance on him yet. A nice charge comes in here on the sorcerer, but they're immediately going to break pretty much. So it's going to be Tamarkan taken down by the looks of things. But I'm not sure if he's enough gas in the tank to bring it back despite that, says our Doombolt. He's continuing. How much damage did he do? He actually did okay. What a funky build. Good job, Curio. As that's going to be the Maggot Lord probably taken out in the next hit. But that's... No, he's not! What was this build? What are you doing, brother? What are you doing? Savage Orcs. One of them did really well. Skirmish Elements didn't do great. What a funky one. Alright. So we've watched some orcs. We've watched some Nurgle. Where is it? Where did it go? It's hiding. It's hiding. Where is he hiding? Brett versus Skaven. What's up, probably SOS? How are you keeping? I'm actually blind. Did we watch this? We've watched a few different games here. So let's see, what do we want to do next? Is good. I'm chilling playing E33 and hope you enjoy. I'm doing good. We're just casting a tournament right now, probably SOS. So we're just going to continue on. Let's watch Unlucky Spotify. Take his whatever these are. Alright, it's tourney. Yeah, the tourney was yesterday. I casted most of the games yesterday, but we're going to finish off the casts today. That's what we're doing right now. And again, big thank you to Phoenix King and the Night Crew lads for being so kind to throw this on. And for having me cast. You all are amazing. Amazing. Alright, what do we got here? On the side of the Noskins. We have Marauder Berserkers, some more Marauders. The Aura War Berserkers. The Aura War regular ass Marauders. More Marauders, more Berserkers. Frontline mixed in between the two of them. Obviously with the Marauder Hunters here with their armor-piercing missiles are going to go do some good work. And it seems as though he's gone full on them with the armor-piercing rather than relying on some Plague of Rust or any shenanigans. We have the Mobility Core here in the form of a bunch of Warhounds and Ice Wolves. And then on the far flank here we have much the same with the Aura War Norscan Warhounds here with their anti-large are going to do really good work. And Ice Wolf, Poison, Wolfhound with Throg with his regeneration. Otherwise taken Nikki. What do we have? We have a Famir Bale Fiend with Melkoths. And then from the side of Unlucky Spotify in the woods, we have the Things in the Woods Aura War, the Mordheim Bale Wolves. Their armor piercing, looking to try and get some cav hits. Winged Lancers, frontline of Kislevite Warriors with some Watchmen in the Night, armor Cossars, and then the Wolfhearts. And I think that's all other than the Oath Brothers, the Bear Rider Aura Wars. And Castalton! Bing Chiling here with his Death Song of Winter Sunlight with that regen of vigor for whatever. Tor's Battle Hymn. And then the Saex Lullaby for the healing. By Our Blood. Courage of Sacrifice. Gee, he's taking everything on this dude. What on earth? And the Enduring Devotion. And then with the Golden Knight. Foe Seeker. By Our Blood. To Serena's Guardian. And the Totem of Versus. Alright, cool. Cool Beans is a nice rush. A nice wide showing here from the side of the Noskins. Getting ready to get a nice surround in here. As we are going to see the Winged Lancers try and move on ahead. The counter rush here from the side of Norskin not going great, as the things in the woods are going to be spotted, as they are in fact in the woods. And the Oath Brothers are going to be moving forward to try and threaten the flank. They're going to be Melkots coming down here doing some decent work. Not going for the Winged Lancers here, as they are going to be shot to bits here by the Jav Throwers. Good job, lads, throwing them javelins. As they are going to reconsider possibly move out to try and help the mobility fight over in the flank, as one of the Warhounds is going to be sent away. We can hear a nice retreat here from the Oath Brothers. The retreat here from the Oath Brothers, they might actually just end up ignoring them for most of the fight, as the Akshina ambushers now are going to get some good shots into the Marauder Hunters. Throg committing in here against the Kislevites Warriors. His regen going to come in clutch. Slow surround happening here from the side of the Norskins, as they've kind of conceded this flank over here to the Bear Rider Aura War. And now the front line, the back line is going to start moving forward just a smidge, as we're starting to see this slow wraparound coming on here from the side of the Norskins. Slowly but surely taking it, as the Winged Lancers are going to try and move off these Warhounds, who are now finally committing to the fight, getting a nice little bit of a charge in there. And the Bear Brothers, the Oath Brothers of Tor, whatever the hell, actually moving in to get some stuff, as now the Marauders have managed to sweep around. The Watchmen of the Night not trading in particularly great here against these Marauder Berserkers. But the front line now is starting to crumble here on the flanks. We may have to see a reconfiguration here of this back line, as we still have Winged Lancers and the Mobility Corps here from the side of Spotify, continuing to get their very own wraparound here, as the Kislevite Warriors still breaking through. Having these Norscan Ice Wolves and stuff reconvene. Probably had an opportunity to go for the dive on the Wolf Hearts, but they reconsidered, as now they're finally starting to move forward. This absolute mess of a front line here coming in, as looks like Throg is going to be taking the SE fight here against both of these chaps. Actually, the Wolf Hearts here finally committing to getting a charge, but they are going to be charged in return. So that back line looking very juicy here. Playing a very patient game here to try and deal with this. Melkot comes down here on the Bear Riders. And the Beasts of Tashnar moving in forward, as that's going to be the Watchmen of the Night taken down. Kislevite Warriors down. The Wolf Hearts by our blood procced. They are also out of the fight. But Trog sent home. But it's worth keeping in mind here. There's only one bit of the mobility elements here. The balance of power still says it's neck and neck, but I wouldn't be quite so certain. We're going to see the Norscan Ice Wolves come back around. Marauders coming back in around themselves. Oh me, oh my. Oh me, oh my. Look at this here. The spells coming down here just to get some extra bit of shots in against the Brutes of the Hound. And that's going to be the Bears sent home. And I think that's... I don't actually think they'll have much ability to hold off here. Maybe I'm wrong, but looking at this here, the Kislevite Warriors are going to be charged here by the Norscan Ice Wolves just to keep them in place. Just long enough to let these Marauders come in to get the rear charge. Yeah, the unlucky Spotify, I'm not quite sure if he has enough gas in the tank, as it's pretty much everything pushed off. He still has Winged Lancers in play, but he has a lot of things to cycle charge down, as he's going to try and move in towards these Marauder Hunters, but that's Melkots on them, slowing them down, and we are going to get a nice charge here from pretty much every counter charge here from pretty much everything. Counter shotting here there by the armor piercing missiles here of the Marauder Hunters. And that's, I think we just fast forward this here for the rest of it. I don't really see them having much ability to hold this one down. Maybe the SC fight can do it, but as that is going to be the Bear Brothers taken down. These guys slowly but surely can be spell-kited down. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, actually. It's still neck and neck here on the balance of power. Maybe I called this one too early, as it's going to be the Balefiend sent back. His build is way too narrow. All of his builds have been held in narrow. Bahrain. All of them have been. And like with his mobility now pretty much down. True, he's losing out in the Melkots. And the Oath Brothers might be able to chase him down. But like they're pretty they're beaten to all get out. Like the balance of power still says one way. But there's so much here for these SEs to have to... I mean, we're basically at an SE fight right now. So we're just going to let that happen, I guess. I think they could probably just... I think a win con here for Norska is just sit on the point and hope that he doesn't have the ability to get it back on. And maybe the SEs can actually take this one. Balance of power... Whoa. Is this going to be a 10-minute long match? I think they just sit on the point. I mean, it's possible here. But there is a win condition here where the Norskans just kind of vibe out and chill. And maybe keep some of their ranged units safe. But this could actually just go to an SE... The SE blob actually getting the win here. Three... 4... This might actually go down to a points win. There was some variation. There was a fair amount of variation, in fact. Yeah, once the army losses is kept out, Spotify just loses this. I was kind of thinking there was just too much infantry for him to have to blow through. Like, he would have to be contesting the point the entire way through there. That's... But it's nearly the same theme. I'm not quite sure what he was going for. Also, what's up, Scar? How goes it, Duder? Congrats on the win yesterday. I was going to pop into the VC and congratulate you, but my voice was fucked yesterday. No, was there 2 yesterday? I don't think so. Let me just check the bracket again. Let me have a quick peek. There was 2 Greenskin players, and there was 2 Skaven players. Wood Elves, Norska, Lizards, Nurgle, Scarbrand, living up to his namesake. Phoenix King was Dwarves. No, there was just him. Oh lol, thanks. No, you're okay, dude. I will say, it is wild to me, absolutely wild to me, how much there is to talk about while casting this game. I actually can't keep up. I might have to ask some of the lads for some advice. I'm used to Souls where I basically have to think of things to talk about. Rather than the other way, well, as opposed to having to think about what's important to have to fucking talk about. Alright, either way. How did Throg do? Not great. Balefiend did okay. Frontline, one of them definitely paid for themselves. These guys... Oh my lord! 1,800! Regular ass Marauder Berserkers, 1,300 in these chaps. The Hunters did okay. White Lines of Crace from High Elves. I probably would, because I do want to get better at my Wood Elves at some point. I had a really good fight in one of Prime's tourneys with against Ryder. I really enjoyed that. His full Moby. Utterly terrifying. Alright, what do we want to look at now? So we've already looked at this one. Cool. We have Dwarves versus Empire, which might be interesting. Again, Blood Penguin seems to be trying at the Null and Ironsides pretty well. Which is neat. And we also have Frost. Frost, you mad lad. He literally took the same build every single time. Oh, I think we'll probably have to fast forward. Actually, this one might win. Wait, hang on a second. Alright, squeak the mail. Will Frost take a W? Will he do it? At long last. At long last. The Blob. And he immediately casts the ability that makes them hide. No time to think. What did he bring? Luminarch. Bright Wizard. Hockland Long Rifles. Null and Ironsides. Handgunners. There's the build. What did he bring on the Bright Wizard? Power Stone and Burning Head. But shoot over their allies? They will. But there's a lot of squigs. Will he be able to rush his way to glory? Will the blob work? He's the Air Collector again. With the Grand Soulfire and the Grand Hammer of Sigmar. Alright. It begins. It begins. The Acid Burpa. Colossal Squig. Lots of squigs. As the Bright Wizard. Let's see. I'm just going to fast forward. I'm going to go double time on this one. Just because I'm curious. Oh my god. They actually managed to make it to the Null Ironsides. No! Don't! No! No! Don't stay there. Go and move on to the Hochland Long Rifles. As they burst through this flank here. The Bright Wizard is confused. That Templehof Luminarch is going to make a shot here at the Colossal Squig. The Acid Burpa still in the thick of it. Going after another handgunner here. Cleaving through the Hochland Long Rifles over here. Mangler Squigs doing what they're best at, mangling. No, you need to go after the handgunners! Oh wait, you can't. You're frenzied. Never mind. I take it back as the Null Ironsides and the Hochland Long Rifles are going to be... The Hochland Long Rifles are going to be taking pot shots at the boss. We are seeing the Bright Wizard try and send off the Colossal Squig. Templehof Luminarch is getting eaten alive. And the collapse. Frost might actually do it. Can Frost do it? Can he persevere? Will the Great Squiggening finally have taken a W in this tourney? Mangler Squigs are not having a good time. Hochland Long Rifles turning to try and shoot at something. Templehof Luminarch is pretty much taken out. Oh my god, he might actually do it, lads. He might actually do it. The mad lad. As the Squig herd bursting through. The Mangler Squigs are taken down. But that's the Hochland Long Rifles guy. Don't clump up! Take out the other ones! Spread out, you fool! But I think he has it. I think he has it. Frost! His lord is down. Grand Soulfire comes down. Might this even this out a small bit? Blood Penguin. Picking up a Penguin. As the shots ring out. As the Squigs burst through. One more of them down. Are they drawing swords? Why did they draw swords there? The Acid Burpa might go down to the Null Ironsides, I'm not sure. As the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are going to move through. We still have the Silver Bullets. Null Ironsides came back, they weren't chased off. Burning Head! No way he loses this! Frost! Frost, no! The balance of power evens out. No, the Burning Head! The Great Betrayal! Top 10 anime betrayals. That's an Null Ironsides take. Okay. Whew. And it looks like army losses is pretty much guaranteed here for the Empire. I think they've been army lost here, have they? We're Lord dead. Friends routing, very tired. Let's get this. The shots ring out. As the Great Squiggening comes ever closer. And that's GGWP. Frost takes a W. Blood Penguin goes out with honor, casting a Burning Head on himself. With the Bright Wizard stuck in the middle with you. And that is gonna be the Squigma. Frost, you mad lad. You did it. You persevered. Absolutely legendary. I think if Blood Penguin literally took any other build, he would have won. However, he memed too close to the sun, like Icarus flying too high. And Frost takes the W. G to the G, my G's. What a legend. Alright, we've seen Frost win. We can end all the casts now. It's over. We're leaving forever. That's a recast if ever there was one. And I think we've already watched this one as well. Did we watch this? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we did. I think we've watched all of Milky Way's tourney. All of his fights. So have High Elves versus Skavens. So let's watch that one first, and then we'll spread the rest of the stuff out. Yeah, I'll probably do some of the recasts on this stuff. Alright. What do we got? On the side of Lich, Warlock Master on his... Not the Doom Wheel. I think it's a Doom Wheel, isn't it? Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres. Poisoned Winds. Saturated in the middle of them. We have our Skirmish Corps here on the flanks. Rattling Guns again. I'm seeing a trend here. So we have some Clan Rat Spears out front. Just to hold the line a little bit. And a backing of Stormhorn with Halberds, not taking the Aura War. And then what did he take? He probably took Flensing. Yeah, Flensing, Brass Orb, Howling Warp Gale, just to deal with their Flying Lords, which it doesn't seem as though we're taken. Alright, and then from the side of the High Elves, we have Rangers on the front line just to try and rip through that front line as quickly as possible. The Iron Reavers, Silver Helms, the Fireborn just to take out those Roguers, the Sentinels of Astral, Lothran Seaguard. Oh, they're they're the Mistwalkers. I forgot that they were allowed in this tourney. They've taken both of them. What's the difference? Charge defense against large, low rate of fire, good range, and they have Shield Breaker. Interesting. And then some Heralds of the Wind, Lyrian Reavers. And he's taken a Noble, I think, just with Colossal Strike. And then he's taking Eltarion the Grim and a horse. Look at his horse! His horse is amazing. Along with, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, Sentinels of Starl. Who are going to be probably getting some, who are going to take some fire here from the Rattling Guns, but they're going to counter battery pretty nicely. Rattling Guns having to retreat, as we are now going to see the Ranger front line start to push forward. One of the Rattling Guns are down. We're probably going to have to try taking out the other ones, but the Soulfire comes out here from the side of Eltarion. Soul Quench, sorry, not Soulfire. Getting some really decent damage in against them. I think the Sentinels and the Heralds of the Wind should be trying to take out these Poison Winds, who are going to absolutely cleave through this. Jesus! Poison Winds going burr, as we're going to see now. The anti-skirmish here just to try and get some charges in here against the Night Runners. Frontline here is winning for the High Elves as usual, but they're trading particularly poorly here with the Poison Winds now at risk. Probably a bit micro-attack, so he's going to have to pull back. Silverhelm's coming in here now to try and threaten the Night Runners off on the flank, as we are going to see the Rangers slowly but surely try and push up against these Poison Wind Globadiers. The Sentinels of Astral still trying to get some decent damage in. The Fireborn now finally starting to pull through as some of the Poison Winds are being caught up in melee. Silverhelm's going up against Spears. They're probably not going to trade well, especially when they have the Poison Wind Globadiers thrown in over the top. Dear Lord, oh God, help. Ow, ow, ow. As an awful lot of friendly fire actually takes out most of the Clan Rat Spears. As the Rattling Guns are going to commit to friendly fire here, shooting off their own Rat Ogres. Epic. But it does seem here as though the Poison Wind Globadiers managed to get away with it as the Rattling Guns come back. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Now this is Therian the Grim coming in here now, getting some decent damage in. Rat Ogres sent home by the Fireborn. Silverhelms going in against the Poison Wing Globadiers at long last. Kurt, welcome in. As the Noble is going to be chasing down the Warlock Master. Look at this. We'll play some Benny Hill on this one. Absolutely epic. Look at this. The Poison Wing Globadiers trying to go in for some fire. Sentinels of Astiel, or however, Astarel. There we go. I figured it out. We're epic. We got a first try, guys. Trust. The Silverhelm's still over here in the flank. One of them chasing off here these Night Runners. The other one about to charge into some Clan Rat Spears just to clear off some of the chaff. Looking here, the Heralds of the Wind continuing to get some decent shots off. Getting a charge here. Going to break those Clan Rat Spears right off the bat. Fireborn are taking some serious damage, but they are taking out the last of these Rat Ogres. Although there might be just far too many of them to have to deal with. An Apotheosis on them is probably going to be a good idea here, but they still have the Martial Mastery going up. The Sentinels counter-battering in here, but these Poison Wing Globadiers got real freaking close. They're going to do some good damage to them, but not before they're taken out. Looking here, we still have some rattling guns. Who knew that machine guns were epic when you're going up against cavalry? That's crazy. Are they going to actually... No, there was a slight crest in the hill, so they weren't able to fire. GG, though. Shake the hand. As the Heralds of the Wind are sent back. And it looks like Tactical Lich is in a good position here to get the W. Considering that these Rat Ogres are still caught up here on the Fireborn. There is a little bit of Clan Rat Spear support, but 2 Rat Ogres, Clan Rat Spears, they're going to be chipped down into nothing, so they're going to have a hard time. But these Silverhelms are still very, very healthy. Still in the thick of it. Chasing off some of the skirmish core that's left. And then the full health Noble. Therian the Grim still in play. Flensing Ruin. It's actually looking pretty good for the High Elves here, considering they still have some of their mobility pieces. Still some pretty beat up Silverhelms in the back. They're not going to be good for much, as the Sentinels of Starl are going to be routed off. But they do come back. And we see the Warlock Master commit now to trying to take them out. Seems there's some micro attacks going on now, and they're going to have to retreat off. Silverhelms are still in good nick here. There's still a few haggard remnants left, as we're seeing the counter battery here from the Sentinels of Starl. Flensing Ruin here by the Skaven is kind of going to be needed if it's still in play. Has he used up both of them? He still has a Brass Orb left. It's probably on cooldown, as that's going to be Poison Winds sent home. We're going to see the Night Runners come in here and take out these last of them. And I think that's GGWP for the Skaven here. They've run out of steam. They don't have much. There's still some of these Mistwalkers still in play, as we're going to see now. A charge right down the pipe from the side of the Warlock Master here, again, going absolutely burr. He did pretty good work here, but Soul Quench comes out here from Eltharion just to get a little bit of extra chip down. And the Fireborn are still in play. If you can tie up that Warlock Master, hold him in place just long enough to let Eltharion, with his Grim Resolve, come in. As that's going to be a Flensing Rune coming down. Going to get some extra hits, but that's going to be the Warlock Master very badly damaged. Is he going to be able to skedaddle away? No, he retreats into a Storm Vermin, where he's probably going to have to spend the rest of this fight. Eltharion's taking a little bit of damage. But there's still Silverhelms. There's still the remnant of the Fireborn. These Rat Ogres are still very much in it, but they've been forgotten as we watch this absolutely horrifying charge come through here and get the nice bit of damage. GG's though. That's the last of the Rogers. I think, did we fast forward the rest of this? There's still the Sentinels. Still has the Sentinels coming in. Getting some really nice shots here against the Storm Vermin. I think this is a Elf W. That they're now contested. The Point of Soulfire comes through. They're going to try and box up now to let the last of it in here. And that's going to be Eltharion caught. Flensing Rune too late. And that is going to be that. And that's going to be Darth Plagueis taking the W against Lich. 2,000 value here. The Rogers went rut-row. Didn't get much value. Poison Winds doing some really solid work. Rattling Guns being pretty disappointing. And looking at this here, a little bit of value here from the skirmish element here. Good work, though, from the Storm Vermin. The Clan Rat Spears did Clan Rat Spears, which is B. Fodder for your own counterfire. Then Altarian, 1400. Noble, 1200. Really good stuff here. Sentinels. Good lord. Fireborn, jeez Louise. They did good work, though. Nicely done. Well played. GG's, though. GG's, though. Blah, 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 blah. We have a lot of Skaven matches to go. We'll do 2 Skaven. I think we've missed all of Lich's fights. That's really funny. Ah. Huh. So we have... Let's get another... Norska versus Wood Elves. Or Dwarves versus Empire. Let's go Norska versus Wood Elves. That would probably be the play. Alright, let's see what we got. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Delicious. Alright, so from the side of the Wood Elves, we have our Way Watchers, who are going to begin just ahead of everything. We have Eternal Guard front line. Spellweaver of Dark going for those Doom Bolts once more. Seems sensible, considering it was legal. Glade Guard with Starfire Shards, Hagbane Tips, Starfire Shafts, and then some more Glade Riders just to be those annoying blocking units. And 1 Wild Hunters of Kurnos in the backfield. Just play it up. And do we have anything else here? He's been taking the Waystalker. No, I don't think he took anything else. I think he's just taken her pretty... Blessing of the Ancients to hide in trees. What's up, Mr. Cookie? Welcome in, welcome in. And then from the side of Noska, we have some Skin Wolves. Ice Wolves, the Aura War Warhounds getting that anti-large, Poisoned Wolfhounds, or Warhounds, sorry, Skin Wolves, and then our front line of Marauders, one of which is the Aura, and the Marauder Hunters in the backfield, the Femir with Pit of Shades to deal with the Archers, an Enfeebling Foe probably to deal with any Cav that try and re-engage, and Melkots then to deal with the Cavalry Corps as well. What's up, Donut? And Throg, sorry. Pretty much taking Nikki, just as his regen. Epic! As the skirmishing begins, we're going to see some nice dodges, duck, dive, weave, duck and dodge from the side of Throg. Who's not going to be taking any of that shenanigans, but he's taking a lot of damage here from the Waystalker, from the Way Watchers. We are going to see the Wild Hunters of Kurnos pull back, not wanting to engage this entire flank of very angry doggos. We're going to see a charge come in over here. The Norscan Ice Wolves are going to be caught. What's up, Iskander? As we see now the Way Watchers starting to retreat back into the box. What's in the box? Some pointy sticks are in the box. As we are going to see these Skin Wolves commit into this fight. Looking at the Beast of Tashanir. And then the Skin Wolves recommitting into this here, getting a nice charge in against the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. But the Wolves have committed, managing to get into that backline. The Starfire Shafts are going to be taken down. We're seeing some counter battery here into the Hunters, who are probably not going to win that fight, especially considering they're out of range. But we're going to see some Skin Wolves getting shot to itty bitty bits on the approach, but they're probably going to reach it. Are they going to get in? Are they going to get in? Are they going to get in? They're going to definitely get in. They're not going to break. And that's going to be, they're going to munch down on that. Tasty, delicious, and nutritious archers are going to be caught up. Looking at this here, the retreat now. We're going to see the Norscan Ice Wolves take out these Glade Guard. Look at the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Just about managed to hold up. But they are going to be going up against the Beasts of Tashnar, who are going to be numbing on some venison this evening. The Spellweaver of Dark is caught here by some skin wolves. Not able to get the casting that she needs, meaning the Throg is able to kind of amble forward at his leisure as she's about to break. We do see some Glade Riders come in to try and offer some support. She has an opportunity to get out. She's just caught in. No, never mind. She's stuck in the middle with you. As we're now going to see these Way Watchers try and beat back these Norscan Wolfhounds, but Skin Wolves are starting to be thrown off. Wild Hunters of Kurnos, though, are gone. The Beasts of Tashnir are still in play. They're probably going to chase the rest of these guys down. They need to make sure that the Spellweaver, especially with Doombolt, is just sent home kicking and screaming. And they need to make sure that she's not able to recommit to the fight, as Throg is able to break through that front line. And look at this, the Skin Wolves come back to bite these Way Watchers in the dark. Way Watchers in the ass. But you see the Marauder Hunters try and recommit here just to try and take out some of these Glade Riders. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not looking good. This is not the ideal, folks. As we're going to see this front line slow but surely getting beaten back. The mobility elements are still very much in play here from the side of Noska. As the Spellweaver comes back. Is she going to be able to do it? Is the ICBM? No, the ICBM didn't go through. And that's going to be GG's. Good counter kite comes out there from the side of Noska. They have so much mobility that it's pretty hard for the Wood Elves to really fight back against it, especially when you're only bringing the Glade Riders. Like they're good enough for what they do, and they're fine for that. But when you've only one centerpiece to try and take out your likes of your Skin Wolves and stuff like that, it can be pretty nasty. Nasty! But good shot from Prime. And a really good showing here from Pug. Good on you, Pug. Alright. We'll try and divvy out a little bit as we can delete that. That might be one for a recast. Alright. So we have Scarbrand. With Pug again versus Milky Way. The last Milky Way game by the looks of things. And we still have the last Blood Penguin game going on as well. And I think the last from Phoenix King. And again, kudos to Phoenix King for throwing this all together for us. Legend. Yes, Blood Penguin? Yes, obviously. He's Blood Penguin, never Blood Penguin. He's been taking some kooky stuff. If you go back, you'll see The Great Squiggening of 2025. And I would highly recommend giving that one a watch, Iskander. That was a funny game. But yeah, he's been taking some weird stuff, but he seems to be taking a much more proper build. As it seems to be very pike and a bit the Tertio build, kind of. Yeah, we'll watch this one. I need to see a dwarf destroyed. The dwarves weren't having a good tourney run this time around. Unfortunately, the dwarves weren't able to make it. And Donut, if I didn't already say hello. Hello. Alright. What do we got? From the dwarfs, we have Dwarf Warriors in the front line. Miners of Blasting Charges, along with the Aura War. And more miners of Blasting Charges. We have some Quarters here for that counterfire, which might actually be pretty okay into Blood Penguin's build. Some Thunderers in the background with some Slayer support. Lots of Thunderers, good lord. And more Slayers. And what does the Rune Lord have? Rune Lord has the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, say that one fast, and then the Rune of Slowness to deal with some cavalry. And then from the side of Blood Penguin, we have front line of Swordsmen, some Spears, the Nuln Ironsides, which he's been using a hell of a lot today. Theodore Bruckner, who's been taken naked. Damn, cover yourself up, what the hell. Some more Nuln Ironsides in the background here as well. Handgunners, handgunners, handgunners. And of course, the Sunmaker, the Aura War, firing off rockets. The fireworks are in full display here, folks. GG's though. Look at them go. Alright, and what does his lord have? Where has he gone to? Balthazar Gelt, with Staff of Volans, Searing Doom, and nothing else. Epic! As we're now going to see Thunder, the Quarrelers taking a little bit of a battering here to start off with. Bruckner vibing out on his Demigryph. We're going to see some ducking, diving, weaving from the side of dear Balthazar Gelt, who's going to just make sure that these Quarrelers are forced in, as the Null Ironsides are going to get some nice fire in against the Dwarf Warriors. Some counterfire is going to come in here, and looking at that, the Quarrelers are taking a considerable amount of damage as the Sunmaker is doing the smart thing and focusing on different units, not focusing on the same ones, as we're seeing these Miners of Blasting Charges taking a nice tasty amount of damage to start off with. They're getting nuked down, good lord, as we're seeing some kiting out here, the Swordsman forcing back, making sure that those Miners aren't going to get their shots off. Bruckner going to commit to a chase here against them, who is going to be interrupted here, as these Thunderers are going to kind of sally on forward. Null Ironside's taking a lot of fire here from the Quarrelers, which of course do outrange them, forcing them to get engaged a little bit closer, as the Sunmaker goes pew 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 pew. If Blood Penguin wasn't making pew pew noises during this fight, I'll be deeply upset. Heartbroken even, as the Slayers are going to commit into this frontline fight. That is going to be the Grundle's Defenders, the Spearman Shields, taking a lot of damage. Looking at this here, we do see the Silver Bullets getting nuked off by Rune of Wrath Ruin. The Wrath was ruined, Lamau. Looking at this here, more Quarrelers are taking more battery fire here from the side of the Sunmaker. Looking at this here, still taking fire on that same unit. The Swordsman here getting absolutely battered on the approach, but looking at this, uh-oh. Oh, that's a tasty one. Probably overcast as well. So that's going to be another Quarreler sent home. The Thunderers re-engaging, getting that counter battery. And now we're in the point here, by the looks of things, where it's like Empire Total War. We have some Quarrelers left, but there's still a full health unit here. But they are going to be hit by the Swordsmen, who are probably going to be shot off the board shortly. Looking at this here, the Sunmaker getting some good fire against the Thunderers. They're going to be taken down. Still Quarrelers in play here, as the Handgunners here are going to be slayered. Look at those angry, half-naked men running in. The small fellers, as another shot is going to ring through. Those Thunderers are going to be taken out. Quarrelers are still in play. We do see some turnarounds here, getting some good shots into against the Slayers. Probably good use of your ammunition, considering you do not want to be fighting them in melee. But counterfire comes in here, as we're going to have a nice exchange of fire across the board. God, I wish we had Shogun 2's gunpowder. That would be so cool to have the entire field just awash with smoke. And the mod doesn't work either. Deeply upsetting. As we are going to see the Sunmaker here get some really good shots here against the Quarrelers and these Thunderers. And with them gone, now we're in basically just a shooting gallery here by the looks of things. Handgunners are still in play. We do see the Swordsmen and they're going to be pulling out here, trying to get some fire in through the woods. Once the Quarrelers are taken out, then the Sunmaker's gotten some serious work in. Look at that 1400 value. Beautiful stuff. As we do still see some Miners of Blasting Charges kiting it out here into the endgame. Handgunners here continuing to shoot at these Slayers. They need to kill them before they fully commit, and then the counterfire comes in here. Thunderers are going to take a little bit more fire. Looking at this, Balthazar Gelt committing to a charge here, probably against these Quarrelers. He's taking a bit of shots on the approach. Most of the front line here from the Dwarves is gone, but there's still just enough for it to be annoying, as we do see these Null Ironsides continue to get the last. There are 3 of them left. Are they going to reach? No, they don't. Lamau, XD, got them, wrecked, destroyed. Looking at here, the Handgunners continuing to get some decent shots in against the Thunderers. Ekron's Miners are still in play, though, as these Handgunners as well are going to be committing to shots here against these Dwarf Warriors. Null Ironsides committing over here to the far flank, as these Dwarf Warriors are going to make it in against the Sunmaker, but we are going to see the crew commit to the bit. We still have Quarrelers in play here, and we do see the flanking action coming in here against these wonderful Null Ironsides, who are probably in guard mode, so they're going to continue ripping some shots here against these Dwarf Warriors. Nicely done. Blood Penguin doing a good job of trying to kite this one out into the late game, but neck and neck it says, but there's still a considerable amount of Quarrelers still in play here, and there's still enough of the front line, and the Empire's front line is gone. Bruckner having a hard time of it, and there's still some Miners of Blasting Charges in the background, but look at that, Dwarf Warrior sent home, reeling. As we now have some silver bullets about to commit to the fight here. Looking at this here, we're having double shots here against these dwarf warriors. They are shielded, but the handgunners are going to go burr. Look at this here. These handgunners are going to be taken out here by more dwarf warriors. These guys are probably going to be routed. But it looks to me, Gelt sent home. Not looking great. Oh dear, oh dear. We still have some handgunners up top. The silver bullet's going to rain hell before they're sent home. Full health lord. Not looking good for Blood Penguin. Still trying to commit to this bit. Oh, and there's still a full health unit of Slayers. Good lord. These dwarf warriors are probably going to rout. Yep, they are indeed. We're going to have these handgunners commit to here. Dwarf warriors probably going to turn around and get some shots in here. But there's still some quarters in outranging. There's still a bunch of them. Hard fought by the looks of things. We'll keep this one going as it looks like more dwarf warriors are going to be sent home. We still have some Null Ironsides in play. Looks like the army losses. GG's. Blood Penguin sadly not able to make it. 600, 400, 840. Sunmaker did some really good work. Not able to thin out. Quarrel's still in play. Once he still had the Quarrelers up, it was kind of... Given that he had the ability to outrange, it's kind of a rough one. I don't know what the answer is to that. Given that he's committed so hard to the bit. To be fair, Phoenix's build was pretty on point. I mean, he had enough to deal with chaff. He had enough to... frontline enough to deal with stuff. And one unit of Slayers just got nuked off the board. Still got really good value, though. I think Blood Penguin managed to use up all of the ammunition here in the Sunmaker as well. How did Gelt do? Gelt did okay. Not great, but he did okay. GG's though. Now we still have a Skaven game. Delete that. We still have Milky Way left. We have Seagauze in as well. Gep versus Scarbrand as well. Is there a match you'd particularly like to see next? Break up the monotony a small bit. Let's go Gep versus Scarbrand. Oh, you want to see the elves of Skander? Yeah, let's go with that. No, let's go with that. You're fine. We'll have a look at see what the elves are doing. Oh, good God. Yeah, we'll do that one afterwards. Gepador's Kite? Alright, from the... the Knights of Torgaval. Oh, good lord. What are they? I've never actually seen this unit used. We love you. Look at them, they're so cool. Alright, now we have Atharion the Grim, who's up there with his Apotheosis. Obviously his Mistwalker's Barrage. A front line, a staunch line of spears. Some Illyrian Reavers in the backfield. Silver Helms, Illyrian Reavers. A back line of archers. What are these? Okay, let's take a quick peek at them. A lot of armor piercing on these guys. Good lord. There's only 4 of them. So wonder... Yeah, the Apotheosis is kind of the play here. From Eltarion. Yeah, Tequila always has like funky rules. And I love them. I love him for it. Definitely adds a bit of variation. Particularly because he gives vampire counts ranged. But either way, on the side then of Seagauze, we have Rot Knights and the Rotting Riders. Pestigor frontline. He'll do Pestigor things with the Frolickers. Bubonic. Boo, they have almost 3k HP per model. Yup. They are big, strong boys. No anti-large, but there's a lot of armor piercing here. As we're going to see this front line now, we're seeing some shots ring out across the board. Nice mobile box here from the side of the High Elves. I think it's Darth Plagueis who was playing the High Elves here. Darth, have I ever told you the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, who's taken a mobile box? He could potentially kite this one out as well. Pestigores are pretty quick. Keep moving back. We see a pretty standard front line here as the Frolickers, Bubonic, and the Pestigores are about to make landfall. The Nurgle Tide comes in. Those archers are unfortunately in a bit of a state. But we're going to be curious to see the Knights of Torgaval where they're going to actually commit. As we do see now, the roadblock that is the Silver Helms come in. And oh my god, they took a lot of damage on the charge. Looking here, the Hounds. Smithers release the Hounds as they come in here. And we do see the Illyrian Reavers come in to countercharge them, which is of course the play here. Knights of Torgaval going to dive onto the Sorcerer Lord of Nurgle, who has, I'm going to imagine... What has he taken? He's taken, yeah, he's Fleshy Abundance. It seems to be the play here. From the side of Seagauze all the way through this tournament, I don't think I've seen him take anything else. As we do see now the Hounds counter-dived pretty nicely here by the Illyrian Reavers. The Silver Helms are dying just slowly enough to allow everything else, but that's going to be one unit of archers taken out, and the Illyrian Reavers are going to commit to the bit and try and take them out. That is going to be the Illyrian Reavers taken out. The Knights of Torgaval are going to get the hell out of dodge. The Rotting Riders absolutely tearing them to itty bitty pieces, but that's going to be Altarian the Grim caught alone with the Rotting Riders. That is not the place he wants to be. Are we going to see a counter dive here from the Illyrian Reavers just to try and give him a bit of a reprieve? Altarian is doing a good job. He is doing the right thing because he does have Mistwalker's Barrage, which means he's going to get some good damage here, but that's one unit of archers taking out. The Warhounds are going to be sent home once more, but they're probably going to come back for more. The Rotting Riders here taking a lot of damage there from that, as we are going to see the Knights of Torgaval caught up in the middle of the Rot Knights. There's still full model count. They probably are going to take a apotheosis soon, as Altarian and them are going to try and skedaddle out of trouble. The Pestigores are going to just about get through here. They're going to be caught between a rock and a hard place in terms of the Silver Helms, who are going to be trying to send these guys back. They've been forgotten! No! Illyrian Reavers taking a full charge here off of some Chaos Warhounds. Not the place they want to be, as these archers are going to reform up and maybe try and get some pot shots off against the Rot Knights, but it's not to be. We do see the Knights of Torgaval still skedaddling away from these Rot Knights, but they are going to be apotheosis back up. They're still full models, so there's a lot more healing to go, but that backline has been compromised. Seagauze still has that full mobility in play here, which is going to be pretty nasty, as we are going to see the Silver Helms send off the Warhounds, but not before the Illyrian Reavers are sent off. That is going to be Altarian caught. Oh no. But he does manage to get the Mistwalker's Barrage here, getting some really good damage here. He's doing a good job of stop-starting, but he is still in a really bad pickle. Bit of a pickle here. We're going to have to see the Knights of Torgaval try and run back to their Duders to try and get some help, as we are seeing the Rot Knights commit here to cycle charging the backfield, as we are going to see these Pestigores charged. Beautiful stuff here. The Silver Helms doing a decent job. Rock and hard place, bad place to be, as we are seeing the Rotting Riders here be heal capped. Seagauze doing a good job keeping them topped up, but the front line is in shambles. There's still a little bit of mobility here. The Knights of Torgaval are still in play, but I'm not sure if they're going to have enough, as these Spearmen are about to rout. Not enough Silver Helm support. Maybe another apotheosis in the Knights of Torgaval to maybe commit into a final dive here. Mistwalker's Barrage could probably help. He needed to have taken out some of these mobility pieces early, but another apotheosis here on the Knights of Torgaval. Kind of disappointing. Keep in mind they're up against some really solid cavalry. Monstrous units need to be 12 units and above. They have a lot of HP. Maybe a regrowth mage might have been better. Like, Altarian did a really solid job here. 2,400! Good lord. But now there's an awful lot of infantry support. We still have some spearmen left, but they're going to be taken down. Yeah, the Rotting Riders are just going to commit to the bit here. Maybe if these Illyrian Reavers can turn around right about now, they might be okay. Just so that those Rot Knights can be held up and these three have a little bit of support. But I think at this point now we're almost at the point that there needs to be he needs to commit to something. Looking at this here. Oops. I like how neither side is really committing to the point here. There's probably a bit of a handshake going on. Although we see now the point committed, realizing now that everything can be camped out. They get a guy dive in against the Rotting Riders. They might be able to take them out, but unfortunately, too much HP. How do they actually do? 1100, not ideal. Altarian did really good in that match. Just not... Speaking of good, though. Good lord. Good god. Pestigors did okay. Frolickers, bubonic, little popcorns. Forgot of the last 5 minutes. Generally speaking, what I'm noticing among the good players is that they won't take the point unless someone is quite clearly camping them out. That seems to be the general vibe. Right, delete that. So we have 2 Skaven matches. Let's take a look at Milky Way, I think. Pug versus Milky Way. Then we'll break it up then with the Gep match, and then we'll go to the Brett versus Skaven match. I think that's... We'll split it up a small bit. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So we'll go this one, then we'll go the Gepadors, and then we'll do that. Yep, that sounds like a plan. Let's see how the Kite does against Scarbrandu. Gep versus Scarbrand. Scarbrand obviously on Khorne, Gep on the Lizards. Oh, righty then. From the side of Khorne. Axe throwers, double axe thrower again, which seems to be the standard in here. Obviously looking here, we have the Hellforge Bellowers. Scarbrand the Exile, then of course rocking Rage and Body just for that rampage. Minos, all great weapons. And then some Marauders of Khorne with dual weapons. And basically committing to the anti-kite. I wonder, is there a reason? So, hang on a second. Let's just... Is there a reason why we don't have the Sally kite going on here? Oh, well, so there's flame damage. And I'd imagine... Reduce increased spell resistance. No, they have no... Just have spell resistance. Unless these guys have flame resist. Which they don't. Because I've seen an awful lot of the RTK lads. Yourself, Felix, going for full Sally kite when they're going kite. Unless they were being polite to each other. Again, this was... Most of these tournaments tend to be pretty handy. Sallys don't have AP on their shots. Fair enough. How much armor? Yeah, that makes sense. Blessed Cold One Spears for the anti-dive. More Cold One Spear Riders. Full Skink Skirmish. I think they've committed to all of them. Lots of Cold Ones. And then we're having the retreat back to a front line of Skinks. Just to deal with whatever's left. The Hellforge Bellower is going to be taken in. And then we have Krokgar with his Hand of the Gods. Predatory Fighter. Primal Instincts. And Cold-Blooded. Stopping that. Actually, that's pretty huge. I forgot about that. The Lizardmen do have access to a prevent... Oh, and of course we have a caster here who's probably... Flock! Drop Rocks. What wasn't Wild Form. I'm not sure if going for magic damage into Khorne is necessarily the play. Generally you want to go for buffs and stuff like that to help you win engagements. As we are seeing the Minos get kited out. We're seeing attempts to duck, dive, dodge, duck and weave. As we are seeing the Hellforge Bellower just go absolutely burr here in some Skink Skirmishers. A little bit of a micro lapse there as we are going to see Chameleon Skinks actually get caught in melee. These Skink Skirmishers are going to retreat back. Is there double? Yeah, just one Chameleon Skinks. As we see the counter dive here now from the Cold Ones. Looking here, more Cold One Riders off on the flanks. looking to try and get that. The Minotaurs with great weapons are going to do a solid job here, but they are going to be holding just in time to allow these Skink Skirmishers to do their vicious work, as they are going to nuke these chaps down by a fairly substantial margin. More Minotaurs of Khorne stuck in melee. We do see, oh, he managed to get the Rampage exactly where he needs to, and we're not going to see that Primal, the Cold-Blooded actually come in, or is it Primal? Yeah, it's Cold-Blooded actually come in to try and save Krokgar, which is actually pretty huge, but we do see the counter push here from more Cold One Riders. Marauders of Khorne doing a decent job here, as we are going to see the Marauder Horsemen just duck, dive, dodge, and weave in here just to try and keep in, as, look at that, the Hellforged Bellower blasting down the Skink Priest, as we see now the counter dive. Looking at this here, these chaps doing a good job now of just dealing with these Marauder Horsemen, but they're going to do a decent job into the Skirmishers, but that's a lot of Cold One support coming in the background. Hellforged Bellower is also a little bit isolated here, but looking at that, I think Krokgar is having a hard time of it. He's stuck in the middle with you, between a bunch of mass. He's just about going to be able to get out. He's actually still kind of stuck, but Scarbrand's going to have a whale of a time here. Looking at this here, the counter dive is not going so well with the Cold One Spears coming in as support just to try and take them out, but that's a still very healthy Mino. And looking at this, the Skink Skirmishers are getting taken out here by more Minotaurs, but there's still a lot of skirmish elements in play. The point has been taken, but I don't think this match is going to last long enough for that to matter. We still have Marauder Horsemen, still very healthy. One Minotaur has been taken out. Krokgar is now very, very low. He's stuck in the middle with you. Scarbrand probably going to take him out now in a second. As we see now, the Skink Skirmishers continuing to do decent work here. But the Cold One Spears are getting chewed up. Absolutely chewed up. As we see the Skink Skirmishers move across here just to try and take out these Minotaurs. Which it does seem as though they're going to do. But they're focusing too much. We don't have any Cold One Spears to try and cover for these Marauder Horsemen, who are going to get the counter dive in here. Still a lot of Marauder Horsemen still in play, and not an awful lot of Cold One Spears to be able to deal with them. The front line has already reached. It's getting torn to itty bitty bits. We see some charges come in here. Skink Priest here probably kind of to go for a dive himself. Minos are out of action, but there's still both two Minos down. I think there's one left. No, another Minotaur is down here as well. Are we going to see the Lizardmans be able to kite this one out? But Marauders are still doing the Lord's work here, as we do see some decent shots coming out here. But that's going to be Explosion coming through. Hellforged Bellower, I think, is hiding here somewhere. Or is it down? Did I miss it? Did it die off screen comically? No, it's still in, and it has a lot of ammunition as it's replenishing its ammunition. Using Hellraiser. Where is it? Isn't there an ability? Replenish, yeah. So that's number one, healing, and number two, getting more ammo back. But it's not looking great, as there's an awful lot of kites still in play here. Skink Skirmishers continuing to shoot down at Scarbrand. It's probably the play. Spear, Cold One Riders coming in here just to try and get the play, but they're going to be Hellforged Bellowed. Shouted at by angry duders. The King Cohort is going to have to figure out a way to get back in. Looking at this, the Minotaurs are being sent off. Some Marauders of Khorne are being sent off, but there's still a very beaten to all get out Marauder Horsemen coming out there. And look at that, most of the skirmish elements are gone. Most of the mobility is gone. We have Scarbrand, still healthy-ish. And I'm not sure if the Lizards are going to be able to bring this one back. And no, that looks as though they aren't getting charged. And I think that's good night and good luck. A moment of silence for the Lizards. GG's. And how are we looking? All right. Good work, good work, decent work, very good work, amazing. And the skirmish elements they got a lot of value in that last. Those two dudes did pretty well. All right. It's the last one from Gep. And we've two Skaven matches left. let's go. I'd imagine this is going to be Tactical Lich versus Angel. The Angel and the Devil. And the Sallies don't have armor piercing. Yeah, that's fair enough. I seen you in there, yes. I seen you chilling in the VC. They're a good bunch. They're a decent crew. Skyn and Poisson are fucking hilarious. I love them. Alright, either way. Enough soul talk. We have on the side of Lich, who's taken pretty much taking the same build here as he has been. But no, he's still taking rattling guns. What a brave man. But yeah, we have double Night Runner on each flank. Skaven Slaves, Clan Rats, Storm Vermin in the center with Halberds. And then double Slaves. In the front lines, Poison Wind, some Rogers, Poison Wind. Pretty much standard stuff here, the Warlock Master. On the Doomflare, Brass Orb, Howling Warpgale, and Flinsing Ruin. Pretty standard. Does he have anything else hidden in here that I missed? Nope. Just some Wolf Rats chilling like villains in the backfield. Then from the side of Batonia, Peasant Mob, Peasant Mob, Peasant Mob. Front line of Peasants, some Battle Pilgrims forming up the second rank. And then some Peasant Bowmen just to get some poke. And the Trebuchet. Ha 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 ha. And Henry le Massif. Charm Shield. Blessings of the Lady. And his Guardian as well. Some Knights Errant. They're both Knights Errant. Triple Knights Errant. And then the Fey Enchantress. Going for the Chalice of Potions. Earthblood. Regrowth. Blessings of the Lady. Life Bloom. And an Arcane Conduit just to Mist of the Lady as well for that AoE Mortis effect. Yeah, double Treb. Don't think he takes anything else. No, all's good. Alright. We're starting to see some battery fire here from the Trebuchets trying to take out those Poison Wing Globadiers. They are a massive threat in this. Good target priority here from Angel right off the bat. The Roger's roguing forward. And it does look as though we're going to get the first few shots coming in here off of the Poison Wind Globadiers, who are just going to go absolutely ham on these poor peasants. Coughing and spluttering. They died as they lived, quite frankly. There's more counter battery fires coming in here, as looks like the Poison Wind Globadiers are going to be shot off the board shortly. Not able to break through, as the Fey Enchantress now is going to be doing some really decent Mortis damage here. Are they caught by that Mortis? No. What's the range on it? Kaboom. The artillery shots coming down on the Teeth Breakers as the Storm Vermin are going to break through initially. We are going to see some counter charges coming in here, or we're just going to see them scoot on into the backfield as we are seeing the Night Runners take some damage. Looking here now, the Skirmish Corps is having a bit of trouble. And yeah, the Knights Errant are going to burst on through, try and take out some of these Poison Wind Globadiers, but it does look as though they're going to try and help with that front line first. Unfortunately, the Peasant Bowmen are going to be caught with their Truisers down, with both Rogers coming in with a little bit of Skaven Slave Spear support, and the Wolf Rats coming in from behind as well. That is going to be one of the Trebs down, and it looks like this is going to be Lich. Lich is taking a pretty good lead to start off with. Very, very solid lead to start off with. You see the Knights Errant taking some damage here just from the Night Runners on guard mode, getting some decent damage in. Teeth Breakers coming in, getting some... Oh my god, are the Teeth Breakers actually going to do damage? Insane, GG. Battle Pilgrims managing to tie up the Poison Wind Globadiers, but it looks as though Brett is running out of steam here. Their mobility has been taken down. There's still some Knights Errant in the background. Some relatively healthy ones. Rogers are still in play. We see some Battle Pilgrims. Both sides are relatively even, but the Skaven are slowly but surely starting to climb ahead. But if they manage to take out these Poison Wind Globadiers, but we do have some Rat Ogre support here, probably waiting to charge in. Teethbreaker's doing a good job. Nice play here, making a little bit of a fork here. Neither of them could be charged, but it looks like they're going to go straight for the rogue. Actually, they're going to bypass the Rogers, go straight for the Teethbreakers, take out some of that balance of power, but they are going to be counter-fired in here by the Poison Wind Globadiers, who are apparently thinking about routing, and I don't quite know why. If they manage to do some really good damage to the Knights Errant here, this could be a rough one. But the Bretts aren't out of it yet. There's still a little bit of gas in the tank, but never mind. It's not looking great. Their Lord is hiding here somewhere. He's taking a lot of damage. As we do see the Scave and Skirmish elements still in play. See the Doggos coming in here just to try and tie stuff up. Some Night Runners lost, but not... But actually, no, they are forgotten as they're about to be routed off themselves. A lot of Skaven are in there, but... with the cavalry in disarray, archers gone, lots of roguers still in play. It's not looking great, even with Henry Le Massif about to chase off the Warlock Master. Warlock Master's about to go down. That's going to keep the morale in bits, which means an awful lot of these little bitty bits are going to go into the ether. Knights Errant about to get a decent charge in here, uncontested here against the Poison Wind Globadiers. Back to dead even again. Good lord. A lot of idle units here. Another Poison Wind Globadier routed off. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm not a... Balance of power says it's dead even, but I think the Skaven are doing pretty okay here. They still have an awful lot of mass. Their range units are gone, but it's not really... They might be able to cycle charge. The Brett player can't really cycle charge anything off here. Where are their Cav? Are they all gone? If the Cav are all gone, then this is Jover. Yeah, I think this is going to be a slow descent into good night and good luck. But with the morale of the Skaven being as low as it is, just fast forward here a small bit. More and more of the Brett stuff is being sent off. They just have their lords left. Get the Fey Enchantress caught up in some mass. But she's getting them really good heal. Ooh. Maybe not. Maybe I called this one too soon. Wolfrat's a Roger. Roger. Fey Enchantress is getting beat up. But they're actually managing to beat back the Rat Ogres here with their pretty bad leadership. Henry Le Massif is still doing good. He's still being healed up. Brett actually managing to come back from this. The SEs doing the Lord's work. As we're seeing the last of their ranged units being sent off here from Brett. They need to get rid of the last of the supporting infantry here. The Wolf Rats probably going to rout before they even reach. Yes! Henry is terror, right? I believe he does. Yeah, it causes terror. Does the Fey Enchantress cause fear? Yeah, she causes fear as well. We still have some Poison Wind Globadiers. I think this is going to boil down to, can they outgrind everything on the point here? Wolf Rats are going to have to chill. They're chilling at around 10 leadership. Counterfire comes in. 200 points. Yeah, this is going to be a slow grind, I think, to the finish. You have to take out the last of this. Alright, they're just going to go for the dive on all of the range stuff. It's literally just the single entities, but they were able to pull through. I was full sure that the Skaven had that one. Although they didn't get good value off of their globes. Knights Errant didn't do phenomenally well. Yeah, I think it was Henry and the Fey Enchantress had to hold that one up on their backs pretty much. GG's though. As I think we're on the last match now. Yep. And it's going to be Milky Way to finish us out. 2 little value on those remaining units, plus leadership issues with the Dead Lord. Yeah, once the Lord is dead with Skaven, it seems to be a pretty nasty thing. I thought they had enough gas in the tank to take out some of the SEs, but we'll chalk that one down to my inexperience. But we are going to have Milky Way, the fan favourite, going up against Pug on the Norska. Milky Way's a homie. I hope he did okay. Alright, what do we have on the side of the Norskins? We have front line of a mix of mostly Marauders and then a couple of just the one Berserker. Very strong mobility core, including a Feral Manticore. A couple of Warhounds, Skin Wolves, Norscan Warhounds, and then a Manticore. I've heard that it's Norscan favored because I've heard Human Boy complain about it. That is my frame of reference. Wolfric, of course, having the Hunter of Champions and the Sea Fang. Of course, his regular rage, his anger, grr. And then, of course, we have the Roger backfield here from the side of Milky Way, taking his more or less standard build. Icked Claw, Bubo Sharpshooters, the Teeth Breakers. Poisonman Globes, a very tight formation here, maybe too tight. And then Clown Rat Spears in a front line. The mobile box, but more of a but he has static box elements in it. Ugh. Unfork. What does it could have? Well, we're waiting for the unlimited power Flensing Rune, Warp Lightning, and the Brass Orb. Scurry away, giving him speed. I have not heard good things about this particular matchup. As we now see the Wolf Rats in the background, getting ready to nom. Milky Way trying to reform. I can't remember. Too tight formation with the globes. I think, yeah. I have a strange feeling. I have a feeling in my bones, considering the few times I've played the Norscan side of this, that it's going to be a steamroll. Because you have the Skin Wolves are going to do really good into the Rat Ogres. The Wolfhounds are going to have the ability to just chase down whatever's left. And Milky Way is not going to go in for the counter charge. One of the nastiest chase-offs stare-downs I've ever seen. Natty Bubos are getting some decent damage here, probably against the Bale Fiend. So we're going to see Melkots come down here. And look at that. They are not going to go quietly into that good night, though, as the Sea Fang comes down here. Oh good God. Burning Head. Doing Burning Head things. We have double crowd clear on the front line here with both Sea Fang, which happened just off screen from Wolfric. And, yeah. Oh God. Oh good Lord. Norscan Wolfhounds are going to rout off, but so too are the Rat Ogres. The perimeter has been breached. Skin Wolves are in. They huffed, they puffed, they blew that house down. And it looks like this is just going to be a little bit of a steamroll here on the Skaven. We have some terror here. I think they have terror. Yeah, they have terror. And they're going to die of Ickett. Yeah, this was... Ouch. Owie. Good Lord. Unfort, bestie. Natty Bubos are still up shooting at the Manticore. Ickett Claw with his dying breath. Gonna put down a Flensing Rune and go gra. As the Manticore charges through the Teeth Breakers. Natty's Bubos are caught up. Skin Wolves, they feast. Good Lord. What a steamroll. Ouch. Could we have a moment of silence for Milky Way. Team Milky Way not eating good in this matchup. Unfortunate, bestie. And that's going to be Icha Chase. Yeah, this just... I think we just fast forward through all of this. Yeah, GG's. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the tournament. Again, thank you all for popping by again today. I did say yesterday I'd probably think about casting the rest of this. I'll probably pick a few matches. I'll probably do some casting tomorrow. And recast some of these matches and upload them during the week while I'm away. I don't really play, but I think it's better just to take more slaves to throw from the ghost since they'll kill the allied infantry units anyway. I don't know enough to say, but the problem is that the Norskins can just kind of like amble forward and just break through the front line really quickly. Their skin wolves are really good into rogers. This might be some text to take into this. But if what I've heard and what little I've played is anything to go by, then this is just not a fun time for anyone involved. Well, it's not fun for the Skaven. There was still Rogers in, but there's just so much mobility. There's so much terror sources. There's so much crowd clear. It's just no matter what, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. That's my understanding. But, ladies and gentlemen, that was epic. And now... That was the entire tournament. I think I got all of the matches. I think I got all of them. I hope I did. Thanks everyone for popping by. Another short and just a little stream just to carry us forward. Cheers again to Phoenix King. And to the Night Crew crowd. The Night Crew. Y'all were amazing hosting this. Tequila, as always, for hosting these events every week. I think his computer is on the fritz, so he wasn't able to make it. But I love and appreciate you all. We're going to raid on. Still don't think I can raid on the YouTubes, which is on Fork Bestie. But yeah, GG's everyone. Like, subscribe on the YouTubes. Iskander, nice to see you around. And we'll talk to you all. Goodbye.